Salut et bienvenue, welcome to EBI23 the Pluperfect Tense. Now, if you're watching this video, it's because you've made an error when trying to express something in the Pluperfect Tense, which, to be honest, is brilliant. Well done, because this is a proper A-level tense. I personally didn't learn this, I didn't even see it until I was in year 12, and I didn't start using it in my own French until well into year 13. This is such an advanced piece of French. The examiner will absolutely love this. If you're a GCSE student, this is incredibly advanced. If you're an A-level student, this is one of the sort of new tenses that you'll need to master to be competent and to get up to that excellent A-level standard. So the Pluperfect Tense is going to be a tough EBI video today, I'm warning you now, but if you practiced this and if you can use this in your exams in your French, you're going to really shine and stand out as a top candidate. It's going to take some explaining though. So welcome to EBI23. Let's look at the Pluperfect Tense. Alors mes enfants, right guys, so to master the Pluperfect Tense, these are the 5 key questions you'll need to know the answers for. Now, it could be when you're looking at these, you haven't got a clue today on these questions because this is advanced. That's absolutely fine. This video is going to work through each question one by one to show you and to develop your skills, and then we'll give you some little tests to see what we've got. Right now, I want you to pause this, have a look at these questions, see if there's any at all if you can answer. If you can't, don't worry about it, and then restart the video. I'll go through everything. Now, before you pause me, let me just point out our extra challenge today because I don't want to forget it. This is a really complex tense with a lot of things to remember and rules. So I really advise you to make a revision poster on it. You can make it look beautiful, use different colors, stick it up somewhere in your room and test yourself on it. This is one where a revision poster will be really handy to remember everything. So that's something to keep in mind. Have a little look at questions 1 to 5. When you think you're ready, restart the video and I'm going to work through these questions. Alors mes enfants, right guys, the first question then, what is the pluperfect tense? What does it mean and when is it used? So there's a difference between our past tenses. The pluperfect in French is called the plus que parfait, the more than perfect tense, and I like that because I think it makes more sense, because the perfect tense is what you have done or what you did, whereas the pluperfect tense is more in the past than what you have done. So what's more in the past than I've finished my homework? I finished my homework. I had finished, and that's what you need to know. Whenever you want to say had, you're using the pluperfect tense in English and in French. So this usually works when you've got 2 past tenses together in a sentence and you want to say that one thing happened before the others. So in simple terms, guys, what does it mean? It means had. Just getting a bit more complex. This is where the A-level university style language comes in. You use it in a sentence usually when you've got 2 past tenses together and one happened before the other. For example, look at this one. I had wanted to go before I knew he was coming. So back in the past you'd wanted to go, but then later on, still in the past, you found out that this guy was coming and that's put you off. Or, I like this one, at the airport, he realised he had forgotten his passport. So this is the past tense event, him realising. That's the past tense. He realised, and what had he realised? That further back in the past, he'd forgotten his passport. So that, if you've understood that, brilliant. All you need to know, guys, is it means had, and it's expressing something further back in the past. And here we've got my timeline. So the imperfect, all of these are past tense. The imperfect is what was happening or what used to happen. The perfect is what happened or has happened. And the pluperfect is what had happened. Had. That's what you need to know. Alors mes petits, right guys, these questions are crucial today. So put me on pause, see if you can answer question 1 and question 2. If you can't, rewind the video and watch again. Pause me now, I'll go through the answers. Alors mes petits, right guys, let's see what you've got. What does the pluperfect tense mean? It's how you say had. When's it used? To express an event further back in the past, or whenever you want to say had. I had forgotten my passport, so I couldn't go. let's have a look then. That's the meaning of the pluperfect tense, had. The next few questions is how to form it, and this is where you really need a good grasp on other tenses because it's a compound tense. What's a compound tense? Well, what's a compound in chemistry? A compound is a mix of two or more elements, like water is a compound, hydrogen, two parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen. So that is a compound. It's the same thing in French. A compound tense is when I'm going to put two tenses together. Et voilà. So the pluperfect is a compound tense because we need to combine two things together. Now for me, this is beautifully logical in French because the pluperfect tense is further back in time. It means what you had done way, way back. So how do you do that in French? Well, you combine the two past tenses we already know, which I think is beautiful. So the first step, you need an auxiliary verb. So there's two parts to it. Remember, it's a compound, two parts. So the first thing you do is you need the auxiliary verb where you take avoir in the imperfect. So here it is. J'avais, tu avais, il est, l'on avait, nous avions, vous aviez, ils avaient, and this means was having. So you take the imperfect and then the second part, you use our past participles from the perfect tense. So regardez, E with an accent, watched. Remember, ER verbs change to an E with an accent, IR verbs change to an I, RE verbs change to a U, and we've got all our irregulars in the past tense. Fait, vu, lu, bu, voulu, pris, dû, etc. All of those are still there, and all you do is put these two together. So on their own, remember they're a compound, on their own, j'avais means I was having, and regarder is finished. I was having finished, that's not what this tense means, it's how you say had. So we've got both past tenses we already know together to make a super past tense, which means had. So, j'avais, let me use a different color, it's too hard to see that one, so professional. If I say j'avais regardé, it's I had finished. J'avais fini, I had finished. J'avais attendu, I had waited. J'avais fait, I had done. This is how you do it. You add avoir in the imperfect with the past participles, and that makes the pluperfect, which means had. Et voilà, right guys, so I've basically put all the answers up for you today. It's just for you to get the hang of putting these parts together. So here I've got the imperfect of avoir, and here I've got step 2, the past participle. So here, ici, j'ai 4 questions en anglais. I'd finished, I'd waited for an hour, I'd forgotten that, I'd already done that. Alors ici, je vous ai donné les verbes. Le premier verbe, c'est hier, le deuxième, c'est RE, le troisième, c'est ER, et le quatrième, c'est irrégulière. Alors donc, what you need to do is translate I'd finished, I'd waited for, remember that all I had, translate them into French using step 1 plus step 2. Get the hang of this and see what you can do. Put me on pause, see if you can translate these 4 sentences. When you think you're done, recommencez la vidéo and I'll go through the answers. Bon courage, on y va. Alors mes enfants, right guys, if you listen to me now, you've had a go at this. So let's look at the pluperfect. Let's put the two together. I'd finished, just follow the 2 steps. It's all up here for you. So to say I had finished, step 1, we take the imperfect of avoir. So I was having, j'avais. And then finir is an IR verb to put an end to the past. We change the IR to an I. Put the 2 together, j'avais fini. I had finished. So j'ai fini is I have finished. J'avais fini, I had finished. Numéro 2, I'd waited for an hour. It's a nice phrase that you can use there. So again, we need step 1 is I again, so it's going to be j'avais, and then attendre is the verb to wait. The RE changes to a U in the past, so we want j'avais attendu pour une heure, for an hour. And numéro 3, I had forgotten that. Oublier is to forget. Now this is a key phrase because this you'd use this, I'd forgotten that I hadn't done this or something. You need 2 things together. So I'd forgotten that. Follow the steps, j'avais, and then oublier ends in ER, so in the past tense we change it to an E with an accent. J'avais oublié ça. I had forgotten that. J'avais oublié ça. Et finalement, our irregular verb, easy one to remember though. I'd already done that, so we need that word already, which is déjà. Remember, déjà vu, that feeling that you've already been there, already seen. So I'd already done that is going to be j'avais déjà fait ça. J'avais déjà fait ça. Et voilà. If you put the déjà in a different place, that's fine, but this is where I put it in between the two. J'avais déjà fait ça. I had already done that. Guys, excellent effort here. Give yourself a mark out of 4. If you didn't get any of these, maybe you need to just watch the slide before, watch the explanation again and come back to it. You are going to be making mistakes today and not getting full marks. That's absolutely fine. This is advanced today, people. Don't worry about it. Well done. If you think you've got the hang of this, let's revise our key questions. Et voilà mes petits. Donc, les questions clés. On a fait 1, 2, 3 et 4. C'est 5 qui restent. Donc, answer questions 1, 2, 3 and 4 and properly test yourself, people. If you can't answer 1 to 4, you'll need to go back and watch again. Put me on pause, see if you can answer them. I'm going to go through the answers in a second. Alors, let's see what you've got then, guys. So the pluperfect tense means what you had done. You usually use it in a sentence where you've got 2 past tenses and one has happened before the other. So it means had an event further back in the past. How is it a compound tense? Just like a compound in chemistry, we're putting 2 tenses together. To say had, we mix the imperfect with the perfect, whack them together, and we have the pluperfect. Can we name both parts? I've already done that. So the part 1, which is called the auxiliary, that first verb, you need avoir in the imperfect tense. And then part 2, you have our past participle, which means an ER changes to, E with an accent, an IR changes to, an I, RE changes to. Do that pause so you can fill it in, a U. And then irregular verbs, they follow the different pattern. Fait, vu, lu, bu, voulu, pris, dit, mis, etc. All of those is what you need to know. Right, guys, so far, so good. Jusqu'ici, tu vas bien. But that might change now. I'm sure with your knowledge of 1 to 4, you can now answer number 5. What do I need to do for verbs of motion? Because we're using the past tense, so, or a past tense. What happens to verbs of motion in the perfect tense? Take aller. I'd say j'ai fini, I've finished. How do you say I went? You say je suis allé. Je suis allé. I'm using être and it's exactly the same thing for the pluperfect tense. So our verbs of motion are Dr. Mrs. Van der Champ verbs. Those verbs that we go on about in the past tense, we say je suis allé, je suis venu, je suis arrivé, je suis resté. All of those verbs in the pluperfects take être as well. So how are you going to do this? Rather than taking avoir in the imperfect for our first step, you take être in the imperfect. And here it is, j'étais, tu étais, il, elle, on était, nous étions, vous étiez, ils étions. Voilà, you take être in the imperfect and then you use our past participles. And being as you're using être, what do you need to do for feminine? What do you need to do for plural? Just for our Dr. Mrs. Van der Champ verbs, just for verbs of motion, you need to add an extra E for feminine and extra S for plural. So I had gone would be j'étais allé, putting the 2 bits together. I had left, j'étais parti. I had died, j'étais mort. Voilà, you need to put these 2 parts together just for these verbs. So I'm going to combine all these rules together, but first, let's just look at the être verbs. Et voilà mes enfants. Donc, numéro 1, 2, 3 ici, il faut traduire 1, 2, 3 en français. Utiliser les verbes ici pour vous aider et les verbes ici. Pour la défi additionnel, this isn't as hard as it looks. It's just coming back to that déjà rule. See what you can do. Excusez-moi, put me on pause. See if you can translate 1, 2, 3 and have a go at the extra challenge today. Pause me now. Bon courage. On y va. Hello mes enfants. Right guys, if you listen to me now, you gotta go at this. All you need to do is put the two bits together. So I had left. Remember, to leave is a motion verb, so you've got to remember that. I had left. You need step one, être, j'étais, and then the verb to leave changes to parti. Add an e if you're feminine. J'étais parti. We had gone. So aller is the verb to go. So this is the right past participle. And then it's we had gone. So we had, you need to say we were being. Nous étions allés. And then nous is plural. So you need an S on the end. Look at that. E on the end is optional if all the we is feminine, but you've all got to have an S on the end. If you don't have that S on the end, you don't get the mark. It's got to agree. Alors, numéro 3, they had died. Mort is dead. So put it together. You can go ils étaient, and then mort. They are plural, so you need the S on the end. If you've done the feminine form, elles étaient morts, you need the ES on the end. All right, so if j'étais parti is I had left. Think about where I said you meant to place that word déjà, and you need for the extra challenge, j'étais déjà parti. I'd already left. You can work that into your work as well. J'étais déjà parti quand. So you know that question on GCSE, this is for A-levelers, you don't need to worry about this anymore. So for GCSE, you know when they say like, talk about last weekend, and people go, je suis allé au parc et j'ai joué au foot, c'était fantastique, and they get a grade 3. You don't do that. You can say something happened. You can say, j'étais déjà parti quand. I'd already left when le police est arrivé. The police came. So if you're at a cool party or something, I know you don't go to them, but still, just saying, you don't have to tell the truth. This is the sort of thing you can do. And if you could put in a j'étais déjà parti quand, I'd already left when, I mean, the examiner's going to love that. This is advanced A-level French. They're going to think you're amazing and they're going to give you a top grade. Right, guys, I know this is tough today. Alors, put it all together. See if you can answer our 5 key questions now, and then we're going to do one little test to see what you've got. Pause me now. Can you answer all 5 of these? Alors, mes petits, so let's go through them. The pluperfect tense means had. You use it in a sentence where you've got 2 past tenses and one thing happens before the other. How is it a compound tense? Because you're putting 2 past tenses together, which makes it a compound, 2 parts together. Can you name both parts? The auxiliary, so the first step is avoir in the imperfect, and then the second step is your past participle where ER changes to, IR changes to, RE changes to, and the irregulars all go fait, voulu, bu, voulu, pris, dit, été. There's loads of them. What do you need to do for verbs of motion? They need to take être for part 1, so you don't say j'avais, you say j'étais. Part 2 is exactly the same. Those are the rules. If you've got this far, you've done incredibly well. If you're making your extra challenge revision post, that is going to be a pretty busy post there. Let's put you to the test. I want you to do this next task in your pink books. Alors mes petits, dans les cahiers roses, c'est facile aujourd'hui. Je vous ai donné 5 verbes et 5 phrases. Il faut mettre les verbes ici dans le plus que parfait. Par exemple, vu du ski, ça veut dire en anglais you had done skiing. You done skiing. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'il faut? What's part 1? What you change faire to in the past tense. This is what you need to do. C'est facile, hein? Changer le verbe ici au plus que parfait. Dans le plus que parfait. Attention! Have you seen this little star I've put on aller and this little star I've put on venir? Why? What is special about these verbs that I want you to be aware of? Think about it. Right, guys, this is really tough. So 3 out of 5. If you get 3 out of 5, you can tick this off as an EBI. You have cracked it. Any more would be a bonus. Spend 5 minutes on this. Why don't you try and not look at your notes? Try and not look at like your revision poster or anything you've got. Try not to rewind this video and check your answers. Just do this from the top of your head. See if you really know this and really challenge yourself. It doesn't matter if you get 0 out of 5. No one's watching. No one's ever going to know. It's all about your learning, yeah? So put me on pause for 5 minutes. Use your brain power and see if you can put these things into the pluperfect tense. 3 would be an excellent mark. Alors, bon courage. Put me on pause now. On y va. Alors, mes petits, right, let's see what you've got. Remember how advanced this is, yeah? 3 would be a really good mark. Even if you get 0, that's fine. I've got a lot of zeros in French grammar tests in my day, and that's why I just know all the rules, because I've got it wrong and I've had to go away and look at it. That's what today is all about. So let's put the 2 steps together. I started with the vue form because I knew you wouldn't know how it changed in the imperfect for step 1. This is what you need. So faire is an emotion verb, but it is irregular. So first step, step 1, we need to take avoir in the imperfect. And for the vue form is aviez, A-V-I-E-Z. And then faire in the past tense changes to fait. Vous aviez fait. You had done. If you got that, you've done really well. If you got it wrong, I'm being mean to you today. That's fine. Alors, numéro 2. La deuxième, the verb this time is venir. What you have to be careful for venir, it's a motion verb. So, this wants to say she came later on. Elle. Venir is our verb, so we're not taking avoir. A motion verb, we take être. So, elle était, and then venir changes to venu. And because it's elle, it's feminine, you need the extra E on the end. Elle était venue. If you got that, you've done really well. If you got the first 2 wrong, don't worry about it. I would have definitely got them wrong in year 11 or year 12, or maybe even year 13. Alors, numéro 3, nous au restaurant. This is a more manageable one. So, manger is an emotion verb. We need avoir. It's an ER verb, so we change that to the E with the accent. Easy street. For nous, what's the pattern? So, j'avais, tu avais, il en avait, nous avions mangé is what you need. Avions mangé. We had eaten. Numéro 4, encore une fois, we've got aller. Attention, aller is a motion verb. So you don't use avoir, you use être, and it's ils. So it's going to be ils étaient aller, and then it's ils with this S on the end. So you need an S on the end as well. Ils étaient allés chez eux. They went back to theirs. And then finally, number 5. This was number 1, but I switched it around to put number 1 the hardest one. Number 5 the most difficult, the easiest. So je, les informations, écouter is not a motion verb. It's a nice bang standard regular ER verb. So écouter, we need to change that to an E with an accent. And then is je, so we need avoir in the imperfect. J'avais écouté. Beautiful. Right, guys, if you got 3, you've done really well. If you got under 3, I wouldn't advise you to watch this back. You're fine. Hopefully from the explanations you've seen where you've gone wrong and you know exactly what to learn. If you can use the pluperfect tense in your work, you're going to, at GCSE and at A level, you're going to get a really, really good grade. So a brilliant effort here. The next slide on this video is like a little generic explanation about how to do your daily tests. I'm very proud of you for getting this as an EBI today. Well done. An excellent effort here. Hopefully I'll see you next time on a different video. Merci et au revoir. Your next step is your daily test. So your French teacher will have set you this for your homework. You've got your daily test booklet. Do not write in the booklet. What I want you to do, step 1 is in your pink books, copy out this box, copy out all the questions, copy out all the answers, and then copy out the blank test next to it. Then you're going to revise all the answers here. So you're going to spend your time learning this, make sure you master it. Once you've got it, this is what I want you to do. Cover up the answers, make sure you can't see them, and then in the blank test that you've copied out, take out your red pen, see if you can answer all of these questions and see if you can fill in any boxes. Then once you've done that, uncover this and look at what you've done and mark up your work. What have you got right? What have you got wrong? And then have a look. This is the ideal bit. Rinse and repeat. Go back to the start. Revise the answers again and then test yourself again, and then revise again and then test again and then mark again, and repeat until you've absolutely cracked it. And then if you've cracked it, say you started Monday and by Tuesday you know it off by heart, great. I bet you by Friday you will have forgotten it again. It's called a daily test because we want you to do it once every day, and the best students do this. Test yourself every day. If you can do it for 5 consecutive days in a row and get 100%, you've cracked it, you've got it, you've done it. So that is your homework for next time. Your extra challenge, guys, is to make a revision poster on this. So why don't you watch the video again, pause it, make a poster, make it look amazing, stick it up in your room or show it to your French teacher, show to make sure you've mastered this. This is EBI7. It is so important. Hopefully now you're happy and you can crack it. Thank you for watching. À bientôt. Au revoir.